Hi everyone! Today I wanted to show you how to make your own little inexpensive terrarium. I will also try to answer some of the most asked questions I got, so stay tuned. The first thing you'll need is a closed bottle or jar. I used a water bottle from IKEA, but you can use anything that's transparent so the light can get to the plants and able to be closed up. This is important for the self-sufficient part. I'll explain this one later in the video. After you got your container, you will need something for the drainage layer. This can either be aquarium gravel from a local pet store or some pebbles from the hardware store or your garden like I used in this project. I also use some aquascaping tools for easier access, but a good alternative are some simple chopsticks. After you wash the gravel, put it into the container and distribute it evenly on the bottom. The gravel simply separates the water from the soil later on. Without it, the soil would turn soggy in the long run and eventually destroy your plants. Now, if we put the soil directly on the gravel, it would end up in the gravel over time, so the false bottom would lose its purpose. That's why we'll need a piece of mesh or thin fabric. Here I used some fly mesh from a previous project. Try to cut it slightly bigger so that it overlaps the gravel. This will prevent any soil on the sides to sneak into the gravel. After you cut it, simply place it on the drainage layer. And now to the best part, the planting. Since it's a highly humid environment, mosses will do great in this type of setup. I also used some plants from my other terrariums, but as long as it fits and likes humidity, it will probably do well. With the planting itself, be as creative as you can and want. Anything is allowed as long as you like it. Just make sure all the plants get light. And don't forget that you're always able to open the terrarium to trim down some plants and clean the glass. But why have a closed terrarium in the first place? What we are making is basically a closed ecosystem with a natural water cycle. Since it's transparent and closed up, the temperatures in it will slightly rise. The water from the drainage layer, plants and mosses will evaporate to the top, condense on the glass and fall down as little droplets to water your plants again and again in a perfect little cycle. You probably realized that I did not use any soil until now. That's because the moss I used already grew on a medium, in this case some cork bark, so there was no need for soil in the back of it. If you want to use it, I recommend any type of well-draining soil combined with some sphagnum moss. For some extra filtration, you can use charcoal and mix it in the substrate or put it underneath. I also used some spider wood that I had lying around. It makes for a great contrast and fits this long terrarium perfectly. Some planting and arranging later, and our terrarium is almost finished. Now spray down everything and clean the glass. Since this is a high humidity environment, mold will be your biggest enemy and can potentially take over and destroy your work. But you know who loves mold? Springtails. These tiny tropical helpers actually eat mold and will thank you by fertilizing your plants in return. If you don't want to use them, airing your terrarium also helps. Besides, if you used moss from the wild, there is a high chance you'll already have some. And there you have it, your own little world in a bottle. Put it on a well-lighted place near your window or under a lamp. Just be careful, since too much light can cause the terrarium to overheat and burn your plants. I hope this video was helpful and maybe inspires you to do something similar yourself. If it did, please let me know. And if you got more questions, make sure to write them down in the comments. Have a great day, everyone, and until next time.